Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T for today, September the 4th. Wow, September the 4th already. Go Labor Day. Alright, stage 1, we're dropping the Grens because, well, it's still Gren Mania, and I'm still having lots of fun throwing them out there and making them do silly things. Also, if you play the game with the sound on, you get to hear the sounds that they make, and they kind of sound funny. Holy smokes, that was far more difficult to get out than it should have been. Alright, so stage 1, kind of a freebie, but I almost actually blew up a whole bunch of my own Grens there. I realized how close I was, and I was like, oh crud. Which I thought was kind of hilarious, because I don't know if there's any other troop that could actually kill itself with its own friendly fire, which in my books makes the Grens the coolest ever. Alright, stage 2 went from the right hand side, let the Grens do what the Grens do, which is carpet bomb the crap out of the entire freaking map, and then sit miles and miles away from any kind of defense that could ever possibly hurt it. So yeah, that's stage 2. Let's move on to stage 3. Guess what? Oh yeah, a nice tightly packed level. This is the bread and butter of the Gren. I know it. And as you can see, having those machine guns in the first row, oh, it's so good. The Grens are just going through, blowing the crud out of everything. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. And with some careful adjustments, we'll call them, we could get them in through the really scary defenses. Fortunately, I've got my medics backing them up now because, well, I knew they'd be taking a few hits, so I wanted to make sure that they could really handle it without having to refresh all my Grens every other attack. So stage 3 goes down pretty straightforward, going from the bottom with, I guess, your Grens. This would be like a Gren attack, right? So, and then move on to stage 4. And stage 4 actually today is pretty tough. Like, there's those two those two boom cannons mixed amongst all the sniper towers. There's a shock launcher right behind the HQ. Like, all of these things need to die. And, oh man, I missed another artillery. Jesus. I'm going through a slump. I'm having a cold streak or something. Now, the good news is, with the Granks, the tanks roll in, the sniper towers shoot at the tanks give zero poos, and, you know, tank everything for the Grens, which is kind of nice. Gives the Grens a little bit of time where they can sort of do their thing and try to spread the damagey love all around the base. As you can see, when they finally are just working on the base, they kind of clear everything out around it, which is so much fun. I love playing with that. And then we've got stage 5, and oh my goodness, this stage 5 is absolutely freaking brutal. I can't believe how ridiculously insane this is. I know what you're doing. You're doing right now what I think you're doing, which is looking down at the hit points on the boom cannons, and you see 37,000. That's right, there are 2, not just 1, but 2 boom cannons with 37,000 hit points on them. Right beside the HQ, so you have to take them down. Right? Like, if it wasn't bad enough, like if they were in the middle of nowhere and you could kind of skirt your way around them, that would be one thing. No. These bad boys, right in the middle of everything. You can see them there at the very top of the screen. They're just sitting there waiting. And of course, to make it even worse, it's not like those are the only two things on this entire map. Obviously, there was the boom cannon when I first landed. There's also these two shock launchers strewn throughout the regular defenses that you have to take out on your way there because, well, otherwise they're going to do what shock launchers do and just lock you down so that you can't really get anywhere. Like, this level 5 is a toughie. I don't know, man. I don't know where this came from. Now, for those of you who don't have the pure gunboat power to take out those enormous, ridiculously overpowered boom cannons sitting behind the HQ, if you flare all your troops down into the bottom and just kind of continue farming this whole level for GBE, like, honestly, that's... I kind of cleared up towards the base as far as I could without getting into range of those cannons, and then I pulled them all down and I continued the farming because there's a whole buttload of defenses here that are just basically freebies, like, which is kind of nice. But also what happens is because of the Grenadier overthrow, as they kind of like move in towards the boom cannons, they start to damage the nearest one at the very least, which, you know, isn't saying a whole lot, but it's something, and that's better than nothing, because look at those two monsters. They're absolutely ridiculous. So, to keep them from just one-shotting my poor tanks into oblivion, as you can see, the one tank actually got hit and almost did get blown into oblivion. That's how brutal these things are, because yes, they've got a massive health boost, they've also got a massive damage boost. So, you know, don't think that it's just all health and no bite. These things bite, and they bite hard. Okay, so my tanks and my Grens finally work down the last of the boom cannons, and I just pull everything over to the right hand side because at this point I've cleared the entire rest of the base, and I just let my tanks and Grens kind of sit there shooting at things, kind of finishing off the HQ. It would have been nice to have, you know, let them take out the boom cannons from there, but unfortunately I know with 37,000 hit points it's just going to be too much. Like, they definitely needed the help. Okay, so, stage 6, a little bit easier. I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot bit easier than stage 5. Comparatively, I guess on the difficulty curve, if you're just trying to do 5, like if you're at the level where you can normally do 5 is going to be incredibly difficult. If you're on that scale and you normally do 6 is really not that bad. I thought that it was going to be really nasty because of the sheer number of boom cannons and everything, and I thought for sure, holy smokes, okay, we're going to have to blow up all these things, this is going to be crazy, what the heck. But it really wasn't that bad because using the Granks, I have a lot more energy than I normally do, and I could just kind of blow things up as I go. Plus, as you can see, the Grens, as they work their way towards those defenses, do a pretty decent amount of damage on the stuff, like way off at the back. So I kind of made use of that, I guess, and let the Grenadiers do what the Grenadiers do best, which is hit everything, whether they're aiming at it or not. By doing this, I was able to save up a little more GBE from my actual damage abilities because I was able to not have to use them on the earlier boom cannons, because there's also a shock launcher right beside the HQ. Like, if it wasn't bad enough that there's like 8 boom cannons en route, yeah, once you actually get there, there's a freaking shock launcher also, just mocking us. Brutal. Anyways, that's alright. Like I said, with the Granks, really not that incredibly bad. It was tough, but it was doable. Which, you know, I guess is kind of where you want your Dr. T levels. Like, tough but doable is sort of a good thing, a nice thing, fun thing. Anyways, from here on out, it's pretty straightforward. Obviously, take out the mortar, and then just sit there shooting away at the base. The Grens take out all the rocket launchers and pretty much everything around the base, which is kind of nice because I'm not used to getting the constant flow of GBE even after you've kind of set up around the base. Whereas with the Grens, you constantly keep getting GBE because they just blow everything up. They're so ridiculous. Alright, stage 7, however, I had to go all Tmed, like the real thing, the real Slim Shady, if you would. And on top of that, I had to boost. Because stage 7 today is crazy. Like, stupid hard. I don't know if I was just like, because obviously the first attempt I made was with the Granks, and I don't know if it's just because I was trying to like roll through with really, really underleveled, like I'll admit they're really underleveled Grenadiers, but I got spanked. Like, there's no nice way to put it. I got full-on spanked because I ran out of energy partway through the attack, and the you know, tanks started to drop and things got nasty. So I was like, alright, you know what, I'm gonna go all tanks. And I went all tanks, and it was still nasty. I still kind of ran out of... Actually, technically with the Grenadiers, I think I got to the point where I was on the HQ, but I wasn't doing enough damage to the HQ because everything had been killed, and I think I had like 4 Grenadiers left. Whereas then I tried the all-tank, and I ran out of energy on the way to the base, which is its own problem and, you know, kind of its own thing. So I gave in. It was easier just to boost and to do as much damage as possible and roll through here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the extra little bit of GBE is just enough that you can kind of roll through and do what you gotta do. And, you know, sometimes you just need to boost. Normally not on Dr. T Tropical Island, but, you know, whatevs. That's why we've got the power powders, right? So, and even actually on this attempt, you can see here, like, near the end, I am running out of energy. I'm trying to kind of finish things off and get my tanks all down into the corner because they're all hurt, and I don't know. It was a tough 7 today. Anyways, guys, hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully this has been entertaining. And most importantly, hopefully you guys have some more granking luck than I did while you have yourselves a fantastic day.